My reflection here is really different than what I thought it was gonna be. I guess that's the nature of a blind react.
Magic is here. Magic is here.
Hello my friends, welcome to Vlogmas day 21. I'm really excited about today's video because it's gonna be more of like a themed video. For today, I'm going to be blind reacting, i.e. I have not watched this video in a year. I posted it 11 months ago. I posted it like early January on my big 2022 goals and reflecting on which ones I accomplished and which ones I didn't. This one's gonna be so interesting to see. I'm really interested to look back because I had so many big goals for this year and I feel like I achieved a lot of them, but I also know that I changed a lot this year. And I feel like there's things that I've kind of like blocked out because of all the changes that I went through and because of the entire like 180 shift I went through around wanting to pursue music. Then we can talk some about manifestation and my tips for it based off what I manifested. And I also really recommend you go back and watch this video because I show you how to make a vision board wallpaper on Canva. Wallpaper as in like a desktop wallpaper for your computer. Very potent and powerful because the reticular activating system in your subconscious mind does very well with images. So I'm snuggled in with my coffee. I'm gonna go ahead and press play on this video and let's see. I'm kind of nervous. Okay. Oh my gosh, snow. It has not snowed yet in New York. A winter wonderland. Peloton baby, see? January 2022, Haley was on it too. My office looks so different. What the, okay, my bedroom does too, because of the wall. This is so crazy to see how much can change in just 11 months. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Haley Hoffman-Smith. Today we are going to be talking about big goals for 2022. I used to just make a vision board, right, of like these things that I wanted, like certain numbers on social media, like certain material things or places I wanted to travel to. But I really want this year to be about feeling. So this is actually part of human design. So for example, I want to be a talk show host. To me, it's more important that I feel aligned and flow on camera and I feel like I'm in alignment with my purpose. To me, it doesn't matter which TV channel. Okay, already pausing because that's crazy that in January I was still on the talk show host dream. Obviously that was like a huge dream that I had forever, but I kind of thought that I'd maybe outgrown that a little bit in January, so it's weird to see me saying this. Necessarily, because now, as we know, media is shifting and changing. I feel like a talk show host right now. So that feels like it's enough for me. I think it's important to lead from that vibration and that feeling because you know what's gonna make you feel most aligned. And aren't we all after years that make us feel really blissful and aligned and in the flow? Clearly those are three of my words, so I'm gonna jot those down. Blissful, aligned, and flow. Okay, I really liked that I had those words. We'll get more into the goals, but it's interesting to see that reflection because there were definitely a lot of blissful, aligned, and flow moments, but I don't know if that's how I would classify the year. It was a good intention though. Let's keep watching. Here I want to feel very energized and focused. So in the flow has been a huge word for me simply because I spent a lot of 2021 in the opposite of the flow. I guess you could call that like in stagnation, feeling really stuck. Like 2021 was so bad. And it finally started to shift and change as the result of Vlogmas. Like I was really busy, I was really focused. It created the structure for me to be in the flow. Like I had to get into the flow, I didn't really have another option. I'll also say this is interesting to look back on too because I've been candid that this year's Vlogmas has felt really chaotic for me because I was looking forward to it so much because I loved it so much in 2020 and it like saved me in 2021. Like it's where I got my mojo. This year I was so busy with other things that I was like, oh my, this is crazy on top of everything. And obviously it's been really fun and I'm glad that I've done it. Like I'm almost done, but it really saved me last year. It just goes to show how much like committing to a form of like a challenge, like I'm gonna show up every single day in this way, helps so much to change the energy because 2021 was an extremely stuck and stagnant year for me as I was reflecting on. And so I know from that one of my resolutions is gonna be to vlog more frequently. I didn't do that. But I'm thinking I wanna do something like a vlog every 3 days because then I can use, you know, 2 of those days. Okay, I will just say, it's funny to see this too because I think I'm learning more and more like what my type of content is. For example, one of my best friends, Renee, she is a YouTube vlogger. And she loves YouTube and she really doesn't do like Reels or TikToks. And so we used to talk about it all the time where I was like, oh my God, Reels and TikToks are so easy. For me, it's so much easier. Easier in the sense of like, it just comes to me more naturally to film Reels and TikToks and then to do podcasts So I have been coming into a little bit of a decision-making moment lately around what it looks like moving forward with where I want to invest my energy and my content. I know I'm saying this on YouTube, so I mean, let me know, you guys, those of you who watch my videos on YouTube, if you also watch my reels and my TikToks, like what of my content you prefer. I've just been kind of juggling that because YouTube has been very hard for me. It feels like takes way more mental effort. Not that I'm in this for something easy versus hard, but I feel more aligned making like short motivational videos. Vlogging doesn't feel super natural to me, especially not vlogging consistently, because it feels like a lot of what I do is work. So I'm like, this is so boring to vlog. Aside from trips, I don't know, just something I'm considering and looking back on, but it's funny to see me say this and kind of like embarrassing. I also this year want to prioritize like impact and my content itself over vanity metrics. Like I think in years past, I've been really obsessed with hitting a certain benchmark with the number of followers or the number of views on something. I think that backfired. Okay, what I mean by that is this has been the year of the slowest growth I've ever had with my content, which is literally okay, but it's interesting because like 2021 and 2020 blew up on TikTok. 2021 like blew up on Instagram, and this last year has been so slow. But it doesn't matter to me as much anymore. It used to be all I cared about. It's interesting I set that intention. It's almost like your word is your wand. Obviously impact matters to me way more, but I think that almost shows a mindset shift because now I just genuinely don't think about it except for like, oh, that's good market research. If a video performs really well, it must be something that people want to hear more about, you know? Aside from that, I've not been like follower obsessed the way that I was in the past where I was like all about the numbers. I still want to make some of those goals, so I'm just gonna make them for myself. I have some other like miscellaneous dreams. For example, I really want to spend more time this year in pursuit of old passions of mine. At the end of last year, I got into singing again.
Oh my gosh. Actually, next week I have my first voice lessons since high school. Ankita got me singing voice lessons.
I actually ordered a keyboard piano. My dad got it for me for Christmas, and I just ordered it finally to my apartment. When I was younger, when I was in high school, I would just sit down at the piano or the guitar and I would write songs, and I really enjoyed it, and that's a huge part of who I am. This is so crazy.
And then I kind of got like the layers of invalidation on top of that, so I've been healing and peeling away a lot of that.
And I think it's time to like be vulnerable and spend more time in that artistic flow. Another one is that I haven't decided yet what I'm gonna do with my lease. My lease is up at the end of April. So come May, I could be moving out of this apartment. I can't believe that was a thought. Now I want to stay in this apartment forever.
When I get my renewal offer.
Honestly, I don't really think I got COVID pricing. Like, I pay a lot. I think I probably could have got a better deal. If there's like an increase, I might as well just like look somewhere else. It's so weird to look back because it shows where my mindset was and like what I was worried about, what I was thinking about. I remember being really, really worried because everyone was talking about like insane hikes of prices of rent. And so I really thought I would probably be moving out. And now I'm in such a different mindset. And I'm like, I literally want to stay in this apartment forever and then some. And how quickly I mentioned singing and was like, I'll just play around with a childhood dream. That just made me so emotional because I have not written Worth the Flight yet. I wrote Worth the Flight the day that I opened up that keyboard piano, which took me forever, and thank goodness I vlogged it in this video called Reviving a Childhood Dream. I can't believe I said that so casually and had no idea like what was to come. Or if I decide to stay, I actually want to do a full revamp.
I want to paint my bedroom wall dark purple.
Okay, I did that. For now, I'm just keeping them swimming in my brain because we're still in Venus retrograde, so not a good time to make any type of like aesthetic changes or choices. That was funny. I really wanted to paint my bedroom wallpaper royal purple, but because it was Venus retrograde, I was like, I need to wait until after. Literally did not change my mind, and it was the best idea ever. So I don't know, that was bad advice. I tried to dye my hair on the first day of Venus retrograde, and it ended up like way too blonde and ashy. Hated it so much, cried. Yeah, that was bad.
I fix my hair the next day.
Something else that I want to do more of this year is traveling. I think that seems really cliche to say, but last year and in 2020 loved New York so much that I couldn't stand the thought of leaving New York for like longer than a few days. I also think like because my rent is really high, it was like, why would I go somewhere and like pay for a hotel when I have like this apartment here? But that's like kind of a lack mindset, and I'm really happy when I travel. I truly enjoy it. And I think I could be happier, especially over some of these colder winter months. I mean, I'm loving New York right now, but over some of like the months like February and March, maybe like hanging out somewhere else for a longer period of time. I loved Paris when I went in November. It was my 3rd time going, so I almost think because I went to Paris. Insert here, going to Paris early July to film the Worth the Flight acoustic music video and take the cover photo. These are just some of the bigger picture vision board items that I have in my mind's eye. It's like not impossible for me to do right now, but you know, it's just like, it kind of makes you a little bit uncomfortable because you're like, ooh, that's gonna be a big expense, that's gonna be different. I definitely had a different mindset. That's really interesting. I did a ton of tapping on money this year, and so it's interesting to see me talking about that and saying, oh, it's gonna be a big expense. I don't think that anymore. So that's really powerful proof of healing. I always say like the best evidence of money tapping, like EFT tapping on money, is feeling a sense of peace. And that I really feel like I got to a place this year where I just felt so much peace around money. And so it's interesting that only 11 months ago, I'm talking about my dreams for the year and travel plans and just really concerned about the expenses, when that's not a mindset I'm used to. That's why it's so interesting to look back. The other thing I'm thinking about is maybe getting a car, but then it's like, Haley, if you're gonna be traveling all these different places, you're not even gonna be in New York a lot, / you don't even use the car. What is this lack mindset? I don't know. I haven't been able to stop thinking about that Range Rover Velar. I've wanted it for a long time now, and I keep thinking, oh, I'll just go get it now, and I haven't been able to figure it out. Yes, Freddie came into my life. It's also funny because like getting Freddie changed how much I travel in a really beautiful way. When I got the car, I remember all these people were like, why would you get a car in New York City? And I was like, well, I feel like I want to do some weekend trips. I want to drive to the studio. I had no idea when I got the car how much I would actually be using the car, and I use it constantly. Like I'm already above where I should be mileage wise for the year because it's a leased car. It's okay. We'll figure something out next year. We'll just tone it back. But I have, you know, traveled to the beach multiple times. I've gone to Rhode Island multiple times. I'm driving to Richmond tomorrow instead of flying, which I like to have that flexibility. I have, you know, driven upstate for the Gray little like music video. It wasn't a music video, but like the thing that I filmed for Gray's Spotify canvas. Oh my gosh, I've gone so many places. I'm sure you've seen as I've documented. So it's interesting that I was saying I felt like it was a toss-up between the two, like traveling versus having the car. But having the car helps me travel. Main goals and things that I'd like to prioritize and focus on, with the overall gist of being how I want to feel. From that, I'm gonna create a vision board. I made like a little crafty vision board, like using magazine cutouts and poster board. Franny came over, we had like a fun little vision board party. Okay, so the rest of the video is literally just showing how to make the vision board wallpaper, which again, I strongly recommend looking at and unfollowing, but that was so interesting to reflect on. It's not what I thought it was gonna be. I also know that when I was making my vision board wallpaper, I had certain things on there like Lake Como. You'll watch, it's very interesting. If you go to 1323, there's Lake Como, the Grand Hotel Trebazzo, which was booked, so we didn't stay there, but we did have dinner there. And then there's a picture of a Range Rover Velar in the interior, which is crazy. Then there's pictures of Maui, and I went to Maui for like, I don't know how long it was, but like 5 days in between Sedona and going to the Grammys. What a cool vision board that actually like so much of it ended up coming true. My reflection here is really different than what I thought it was gonna be. I guess that's the nature of a blind react. It's all about mindset. I think I'm still reeling from watching all of that. I think it's all about mindset, because the interesting thing I see looking back is where my mind was at as I was thinking about the year, and how I was actually like in lifetime wrestling with wanting the things that I knew I wanted. And I hadn't really allowed my heart to open up to the possibilities around like reviving the childhood dream of singing and songwriting. I wasn't allowing myself to think really big in like an abundance mindset type of way about traveling, about the car. And so I think back and like, if I could go back to that Haley and talk to her, and I think it would be a lot of like reassuring her that the things that she's wanting, the things she's compelled towards, she's being compelled towards for good reasons, and the things that she's worried about and thinking too much about don't matter as much. Like me thinking about moving apartments, that's so weird to look back on because I feel so settled now. Seeing her like, well, you know, I don't know if I should do this or if that's crazy. But then it goes back to those words I said, blissful, aligned, in the flow, and it's giving me chills right now because I didn't see it at the time as I was making the intentions, but the things this year that made me feel most blissful, aligned, and in the flow were music, which is the first thing I said that I wanted to get back into, travel, which I did a lot of this year, and a lot of that travel was with my car, with Freddie. And Freddie is what I always call, okay, Freddie, she feels like my pet, okay? But I drive in my car to go to the recording studio. So it's like I created a whole different type of day in this year than I could have ever imagined or wrapped my head around back when I filmed this video. Like, I just think about how often I get in my car and drive to the recording studio to do something I did not even really think could become a real thing, aside from, oh, here and then I might write a song, as I was thinking about back in January. I think that just goes to show how much can change. I also feel like I am on the airport walkway version of my life, and a lot of us who do a lot of this healing stuff, like we are, this is something I talk about in my It's Allowed to Be Easy slingshot session. Like, when you're healing limiting beliefs really quickly, because you're doing EFT tapping and you're doing a lot of mindset work, like, things change rapidly. There's so many times in my life that if I looked back 11 months ago, you know, on like a past December, looking back on a past January, I'd be like, oh, okay, like, interesting, I did hit some goals or I did hit some others, but this is a very clear, like, whoa, I see a huge mindset shift. I see a huge energy shift, and I'm still the same Haley. I recognized her. She's still, you know, trying her hardest. She's working hard. She was on the Peloton. Like, I feel like I've gotten back to that. This year had a lot of setbacks that I didn't see coming, but it also was like the setback, the stretch, the strain that shot me forward, just like slingshot. So that was so powerful to watch. I'd say, as you're thinking about your 2023 goals, I loved what I did about those words. Whatever words stand out to you. I remember I also had this little scene of, it was like a mantra or a motto that I was making for the year, a life that feels as good as it looks. And then just recently I was reflecting on a podcast episode that I'd be down for it to be like a life that feels even better than it looks. I think for 2023, and maybe I'll do like my own vision board video for this, I was thinking about like a life that deepens as it expands. So a life that continues to expand in ways that I can't even imagine right now, in the same way that I'm looking back and I'm like, wow, life expanded for me so much this year in ways I couldn't see at the time, ways that I felt like were impossible, but also deepens, where I feel more. My connections deepen with my friends, with my family, with my loved ones. My love for my craft deepens. Like, it all deepens, but it's also expanding. So all of life just gets to become bigger and more heartfelt. Guided by that, magic can happen, I think, right? Because I love that I still set big goals for myself. I don't know what those number goals were. I guarantee I didn't hit them if I did set numbers goals, because it was not a year about that, but it was a year of those words. And it was a year of going further than I knew I could go at the time. Like, it's interesting to see, I'm sound like a broken record, because I can't, it's blowing my mind seeing myself talking about these things and feeling like on edge about wanting those things and feeling like that's too big or too much. It's all mindset. It's all mindset and healing and releasing limiting beliefs. Okay, how fascinating was that? I really recommend you guys watch the rest and make your vision board wallpaper maybe around the new year. And just remember that so much can change so quickly. Anything can change at any time, and just seeing how much, 11 months doesn't sound like it's that long. I know it's almost a year. And now it's December 20th, and I had recorded that on January 7th, so like basically literally almost a year. Thinking that 11 months ago, all the things that are now in my life like weren't there. Like a music career, all the things that it's just crazy to me. It's so crazy. So anything can change, and that's actually really exciting, including your mindset, including the way you think about your life. It just makes me wonder about all the past times of my life that because I know I've changed my mindset so much, like all the past things I've said or worried about that just became so non-existent, or things turned out so much better than I could see at the time. Like, really, the purpose of life is expansion, and so much of that expansion is mindset. Okay guys, thanks for watching that with me. That was so much fun. I will see you tomorrow for day 22.